Daily Bible Time, Friday morning, Dominic Steele. And look, it was great to be back in my community group last night. Visited two other ones the previous 2 nights, and I'm having a really good time visiting the different groups of our church at the moment. We are looking at the parts of Ephesians in Daily Bible Time that we might not be focusing on so specifically in our Sunday teaching. So I'm going to skip Ephesians chapter 3, 1 to 13, which we're going to deal with on Sunday, and pick up in verse 14 of Ephesians 3. And we're looking today at a part of the Bible that speaks of power, unsurpassable power, power to change human hearts. And we're going to be asking God, and this might even sound strange at first, to unlock that power for us, to use that power in our lives. A part of the Bible, it's the Apostle Paul, the church in Ephesus, Ephesians chapter 3, sentence 14, "For this reason I kneel before the Father, from whom his whole family in heaven and on earth derives its name." Paul kneels before God, God the Father. Now, we call God Father. I can call God Father. That implies a leadership and authority that God has in my life. It also implies some intimacy, an intimate relationship that I have with God. He's not just boss, or he's not just king, he's not just ruler, but he is Father. And there's also an implication there from verse 14 of chapter 3 of Ephesians. "I kneel before the Father, from whom his whole family," or the word there in the Greek is actually "from whom all father-headed units in heaven and on earth derive their name." What is a family? In the first place, a family here, or not so much first place, but the ideal family is a father-headed unit. And all fatherhood, all father-headed units, families, derive their identity from God. God is the archetypal leader of a family, and we can be members of God's family and speak intimately to our powerful Father in heaven. Now, what do we say? Well, verse 16, we ask God, "I pray that out of his glorious riches he may strengthen you with power through his Spirit in your inner being, so that Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith." We're asking for the power of God, that from God's glorious riches, our Father God might give us power. From his limitless resources, our Father God might give us power. Now, when I was doing the Christians in the Media ministry, I would spend a lot of time in the city, and the building I spent most of my time in was the Darling Park building, where the Sydney Morning Herald was based. There's Price Waterhouse there. There was the Sydney Morning Herald, and Singleton Ogilvy, and of course Fairfax. But that office tower, it's an influential place, and you would walk through the corridors of that office tower, and you just think power. You see the man who writes the Sydney Morning Herald editorial sitting in the coffee shop, scribbling down thoughts that will turn up in the newspaper the next day, and big decisions are being made, and influential decisions are being made, and all the power of all those people. And but you know, with all that power, there are some things that powerful people can't do. I mean, John Singleton had 6 wives. For all his power and all his influence, the extraordinary amount of money, owning radio stations like 2GB, he can't do it. He can't make a relationship last. Or you look at the most powerful man in the world, the President of the United States. I mean, he can order an invasion into Afghanistan or into Iraq, but he can't change hearts in Afghanistan and Iraq. And the exit strategies of those wars have been a mess because, well, he broke Afghanistan and Iraq, but he can't fix it. He's stuck with them, and the exits have been so messy. And there was enormous energy to achieve external compliance, but they couldn't get heart change. The most powerful man in the world doesn't have the power to get heart change. So you've got an employer, a prime minister, a president. They can control the external. I mean, they can make us turn up on time. They can make us stay home. They can tell us to do stuff. but they can't make us like them. They can't make us love them. They cannot change the internal. They cannot change hearts. To see a heart change, to see someone made into a different person, that requires a power of a whole different order of magnitude. And that's the power that we're going to be speaking of these next couple of days on Daily Bible Time. I'll leave it there for today, but look forward to taking this up with you on Monday morning. Thanks for joining us. God bless.